we're here. We're
outside.
We're outside.
Speaking up nicely because it's quite windy and there's birds.
I mean, just as you said that is a massive breeze. I hope you can still hear us. But yes, we're a nice snort. All sorts of sounds today. Yes, we are in a different location. We like to mix it up for our video viewers. But how have you been, Gill?
Not too bad. Busy week. How about you?
Yeah, not bad. Tired.
You had a full-on weekend, I understand. Full-on big weekend, and I don't mean drinking too much and being laddish. What were you up to, Benjamin?
No, so my friend who runs a dance school, she obviously dance shows and things like that have been tricky to organise, as with all performing arts. So she decided to do a dance show but film it. So we had the theatre that we often use. It was all laid out like a proper show. Everything was ready. Yeah. But the difference was we had all these many £1,000s worth of cameras filming different bits. So it's almost a dance show but also a short film. So I'm going to be editing all of that together. I should be getting the footage in the next couple of days sent to me by the professional who filmed it all.
Oh wow.
But it looked amazing. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a lot of work to edit together, but it'll be good fun. And it was nice to sort of be back in the theatre.
Yeah, lights and all of that.
Lights, set, props, costume, all of that was the same. It was just no audience. But obviously there's good things because it means that if there was a bit that we went, oh, that didn't quite go to plan, just do it again.
Yeah.
So that's one of the benefits, I suppose, of video recording. A bit like when we did our different virtual stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. And then the other thing I've had
what,
today,
Ben?
Jill, this is how busy I've been. The other thing that I had today, which I'll talk even more about next week, was I had the first of my school musical auditions, school production auditions.
Which we might. Do you want to hold that thought and should we introduce the topic of the week and then?
Good idea.
And then talk about your school audition.
Yeah, should we jump straight into it?
Should we jump straight into it?
We'll jump straight into it.
So what is it now? What time is it?
Let's talk about our topic of the week.
Topic of the week.
Topic of the week. I hope the wind has taken that note far away.
That way, behind us. So our topic of the week this week is we're talking again. We didn't really have a question this week as such. Our topic we're talking about is confidence.
Yeah, it was triggered, wasn't it, that some of our members coming back after the COVID shutdown, some of them just felt a little bit insecure, and some have chosen not to yet come back to us. They're saying their confidence is not back up there yet, and they're going to leave this show and then come back later, which is absolutely fine, and we haven't got a problem with it at all. But it just triggered for us the idea of having a chat about confidence. What does it mean to feel confident enough to perform, and also how do you build it if you're feeling a bit insecure and lacking in confidence and that kind of thing. So that is indeed our
topic of the week. Don't sing it again. But yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because we talked. Our second podcast was about mental health and this idea of how lockdown perhaps is affecting people, and obviously there's lots of conversations about it. But as we're starting to hopefully ease our way out of this sort of pandemic, as it were, and the restrictions, and as we get back to that normality, it's really interesting to see who it's affected. And I think it's affected. Oh, there's an interesting noise going on behind us. I don't know if you can hear it. It did sound like someone just farted.
Was that pigeon?
It's because Gill didn't have confidence and she was nervous. She just farted. But it's interesting because the people that you expect, or some of the ones who have said that they have sort of lost their nerve a little bit, as it were, are people that I'm surprised by in some cases. People that are usually quite confident.
What I find really interesting about this is that we label everything confidence, and I'm not convinced, and as I've said in other podcasts, I'm an HR person, I'm not convinced that confidence is the catch-all word for it, but underneath it there's a lot of different reasons why people might lack a feeling of security around things. If you've got inner self-confidence, fantastic. I appear confident, but it's not because I've got inner self-confidence, it's because I do things to get people to say well done to me. That's my driver, is people appreciating what I've done, and if that happens, then my confidence builds. And so actually coming back to performance for me is the thing that builds my confidence back up. So I crave it. Crave the attention, viewers. I crave it.
But I'm the exact same, and often people sort of go, oh, you know,
It's all
they
right for you,
assume that
you're
I'm
so
confident.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do this stuff, you know, when we do panto and I'm the dame, and, you know, that just take a bit of confidence and stuff just to go for it and have a bit of a laugh with it. And people often say, I'll tell you what comes up is when someone says something like, you know, if someone was up dancing or something, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I bet you want to be. I bet you're going to get up there." And it's like, no, I really actually.
Yeah.
In reality, I don't. I'm not as confident as people think I am. I'm confident on stage because I'm playing a character, and I'm meant to be entertaining, and I'm sort of. I do feel quite
step
safe on
into
stage.
somebody else. It's not you.
But actually, I think I am very insecure about a lot of things, and I am. And I've always said this, I am my own worst critic of everything, and I will think about and overanalyze and judge every single thing that I do.
Isn't that weird? Because that's the reason why I like to, I'm about to say the phrase, I like to do it in front of people, but I realised as it was about to come out of my mouth, it didn't sound great. But
is this why we're outside with this space? The camera?
If I don't hear that something's good, I will assume it's bad.
Yeah. I
So
agree.
that's where performing is great, because actually you do quite often get people come straight up to you and go, "Oh my God, that was so funny," or "That was brilliant," or "I loved it when that happened." Whereas in real life, people quite often forget to do that. So when you're at work, I bet if you do a brilliant lesson, the kids just walk out, and you're going, "Was that all right?" Same in work with adults, where I spend a lot of time prepping for something, and it goes really well, but to everybody else, it just went really well. They don't know that. To me, that's like, "Oh, please, somebody say well done, please."
Yeah, and I think that's the issue with for people that are performers and that people have seen on stage. People just assume that we don't have those sort of insecurities. They just assume that it's fine, and actually, I think you'll find that a lot of performers are some of the most insecure people you'll meet in terms of.
They always say that when they try and go and chat shows.
Fly on you, Jill. I'm just going to get rid of it.
Slap me, why don't you?
Get rid of it.
They say about when actors and the like go on chat shows that sometimes that's the worst bit for them, because they've got to be themselves and talk.
Well,
Rupert Everett was just awful on chat shows and so good as an actor.
If you look at a lot of them on chat shows, there is a lot that someone like Johnny Depp, who plays amazing characters, Jack Sparrow, people like that. The most exaggerated, over-the-top characters, and you see him on chat shows, and he's very sort of serious and very quiet and very sort of straight-laced, and almost like he doesn't really feel comfortable. So
that's an interesting tip, perhaps. Then, if parents are watching this and they've got kids who are saying, "I don't feel confident enough to go back to drama," remind them that it's not about them. That when they get to drama or go on stage, that they are playing a part and actually have the confidence, because it's not about you yourself. It's not about Gill going up there and being Gill. It's about Gill playing. Who am I playing? The Sheriff of Nottingham in the next one.
But I'll tell you another thing that I think, actually, just linking to what we've said there, is people should stop saying to people that they know are actually performers. People should stop saying, "Oh yeah, I bet you like that. I bet you did that. I know what you're like. You'll be the one who wants to go up there," because actually it makes me even more insecure about ever doing something like that. It's like someone puts on a musical song and they were, "You want to get up and sing, don't you? You want to get up and sing, don't you?" It's like, no, I don't actually, because I don't know most of the people in this room. I don't know most of the people here, so I don't actually want to just get up and sing a musical song. And then that pressure, and then being like, "Yeah, you're always up." It's like, no, I'm not. And actually, you saying that makes me more insecure of, "Oh my God, do I embarrass myself?
Yeah.
Do I embarrass myself quite regularly? Do people think, God, what a show off?"
I literally.
But yeah, I mean, if I was in a comfortable position with someone, I would probably just go, "Oh, let's have a laugh." But actually, sometimes it's not quite right. Don't push people. Sometimes I think it has the adverse effect. I think you actually knock people's confidence by implying that they're some sort of show off. Does that make sense?
It does.
Because all of a sudden you go, "Oh God, I need to tone it down a bit." And actually, especially with young people, you want to encourage that excitement and joy and things like that.
So talking about young people, as you mentioned, you're back at school and doing first set of auditions for your school play.
Yes.
How do you think people, because it's quite soon after lockdown, it's probably the first performance some of those people will, or first audition, Stephanie, some of those people will have come and done. How have they been? Have they been up for it? Or?
It's been amazing, actually.
Yeah.
I think we've had and like I say, I will talk more about it, I think, next week when we had all the auditions. But in terms of who signed up, we've had 101 people sign up across the school, 7s to up to year 13s. And today was the year 7 and 8s auditions, and we had, I think, 56, 57 people turn up, and most of them did a solo audition. And some of them, you could see the nerves, some of them absolutely went for it. I think it's interesting. I think the older ones are much more affected than the younger ones.
Oh, really?
I think I've come to realise, I think the year 7s and 8s, especially like the new year 7s, they come into a new school and things have been very much like primary school for them, in that they've been kept in their classrooms, in the same room. They haven't seen the older year groups. They haven't seen that. They haven't been able to make fools of themselves in front of the older years and be like, and find what it is to sort of grow up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
And so actually, when you look at the auditions today, the year 7s are like, yeah, I'm going for it. And I'm really intrigued by tomorrow when we have our slightly older ones auditions, because I think there'll be more nerves. I think that will change as we start mingling a bit more, and the year 7s will sort of find their place within the school.
It's very interesting, because my son's year 12, and he said exactly the same thing about how, as yet, you still see some of the younger years walking around as if they own the school.
Oh, they're so confident. It's very funny, to be fair.
They haven't even gone into like lunch or anything with the older year groups, have they?
Nothing.
Yeah.
They've had very little sort of all together. So I think it's very interesting. But I do think, in general, a lot of people's nerves have been affected. I think lots of people are excited to perform. I think that's both in school and outside of school. But I think there's a fear of embarrassment that sort of comes back. I think because people have been so removed from doing things in front of a group, whether it be performing, whether it be sport, whether it just be hanging out and telling a joke that doesn't land. You know, having that sort of natural thing that it is to be a human. Does that make sense? I know that sounds really sort of philosophical, but that's just not been there. And I think that it's going to take a bit of time for everyone, including adults, to find their footing a little bit.
Full on mojo.
Their mojo. Get the mojo
Searching
back.
for our full on mojo.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing, and I think also you've got to. I think the other important thing to what I always say about confidence is people's level of what is confident for them is different. So for some people, if you're a person who is really reserved, someone who just stands up and gives a speech in front of 10 people, that takes a lot of confidence for them. It's very brave for them. Whereas for some people, like perhaps me and you, we're happy doing that. We're like, okay, it's part of the thing. So I think there's different levels of. Confidence links to bravery, doesn't it? And it's what is brave depending on who you are as a person.
It is also, it's about how often you do something as well. So I know for some of the kids coming back to the drama, have only done perhaps a couple of shows with us. It's tougher than the kids that have done 10 shows already. And actually, the lockdown was just like, let me back at it. So it is, the more you do something, the more comfortable it feels to do the same thing again, doesn't it? So,
absolutely.
We say keep going, keep
going.
Keep pushing yourself.
Confidence is it's something that we all have to work on. It's getting really breezy. I hope you can heard all that.
Shall we introduce our special guests?
Yeah,
out of here?
Absolutely. We've said some really good stuff. I hope you've heard. But
if you heard nothing that was good, but you did hear this, then obviously the wind took the bits that were good.
Yeah, exactly. So our guest is someone we've had on the podcast before, but he's also someone who helps run the area of performing that I think, for the most part, most performers go, that's the bit I don't like to do, and that is singing. So please welcome our special guest, Louise. Hello, Louise.
Hello.
Louise, you have been a guest on our podcast before, a little while ago, but just remind us who you are.
Who the hell are you?
Who the hell are you? Why are you here?
I'm Louise. I have the fortunate responsibility of looking after music with ATC. I was in a previous life a music teacher as well.
That's
good. Me.
I just realised I'm still wearing my Starsky jacket from rehearsal.
That's alright, so you're wearing a jacket from rehearsal.
Yeah, and it's not actually a jacket from rehearsal, it's just because rehearsal was cold, so I put a jacket on out of the costume store.
Yeah.
So just sorry.
It's your Danny from Greece look.
Yeah, Starsky and Hutch.
Yes, absolutely. So how has, obviously we did speak to you sort of However long ago was it?
A few months.
Quite a few months ago.
Yeah.
You were one of our early podcasts. How have things been since that podcast in terms of just getting on with life in this tricky times?
Good, yeah, good. It's nice to have a bit more normality. I'm absolutely loving being back here in the studio. It's so great to see all the kids again and not in just little boxes. And
Why did you put them in boxes?
I thought that was the safest thing during COVID. But just like not on a screen, and like, for me personally, the Zoom things were fantastic, and I'm just so pleased that we kept everything going. But from a singing point of view, it's just so, you can't really do lots of singing. I mean, I know choirs have managed it, but you need to be quite techie, and having them together and singing has just been fantastic getting back. So I've really enjoyed the fact that we're now back here in person, and I can see you guys. I'm not looking at you on my computer screen trying to work out, is my washing behind me?
It was always.
I know, I'm really sorry.
Nice
Or the
pants.
cat was about to come in and just make an appearance, so yeah.
Was with the lockdown stuff, and obviously we did a couple of productions. How did you find doing that? How did you find sort of doing vocal stuff? I mean, you've sort of already talked about it a bit, but trying to do those vocal things and go over singing in a slightly different way.
It was really good. I mean, we're really lucky that we've got access to kind of Google Drives and things like that, and the way we were already set up like that. So everyone in the theatre company already knew where to go to get things.
Yeah.
What was very, very strange for me was recording something for people to sing along as a sing-along track, but not knowing who was listening to it and how helpful it was. It's very different when you can hear people singing back to you. You're like, oh, actually, you've slightly misunderstood that timing, and you can just kind of tweak things. So for me, it was kind of more difficult that way around. And also, this is going to sound really strange, I'm way more comfortable performing when there's people around me. So recording bits in my house...
It's much more scary. Oh, absolutely. I think we all had the crisis of confidence when you listen back to just you singing and then backing track.
Yeah, it was just that in my house. I think when we did, because I sang What Baking Can Do, didn't I, for the first, my absolute favourite song. I will spelt that out in a car, no bother at all. Get me actually having to sing it in my house with my husband filming it, who's not performing arts at all, bless him. And it was VE weekend I recorded mine. Yeah. So we had the windows open because it was warm. Our neighbours across from us were having their little party and there's me. I've only got one volume.
It's
I can't
loud,
help it.
it's loud.
Yeah, I've got one volume, a bit like Colin McRae. It's just one speed, that's all I've got. So I'm going for it. What? Colin McRae.
What? I don't.
What?
Well, it just goes at it.
Is he a rally driver?
Colin McRae's a rally driver. There's a very famous... He's a rally driver. It's just a famous...
He just goes at it.
He doesn't just go at it. He just drives really fast.
No, I won't be cutting that bit.
The saying is Colin McRae's only got one speed.
That is not a saying!
It is!
In whose book is that a saying?
It is.
His book.
Oh,
anyone who knows anything about motorsport.
Oh yeah, I just work in automotive.
Anyway, I'm loud.
Okay, you are. Like this.
So I could see them as we're recording going,
what is that?
What's that noise? And I was like, that's not me. Because I was facing out of the window, and then they're looking at me, and I'm like,
you're still going to do it again, it's going to record it again.
So I'm going redder and redder, and I'm like, oh, this is horrible. And I did the Robin Hood bit we did, and the second one, which I filmed in my back garden. And when we finished that, I heard, woo! And I was like, oh, it was horrible. But if I'd recorded that, when we did the Christmas one, we could record
together.
And you guys, because you guys were in walking around the Christmas tree with me. Not a problem.
Isn't that nice? And that brings us very neatly into discussing our topic of the week. Topic of the week. Oh, we're together to sing it together.
We already have that
favourite.
I know, but I just
can't have it a second time.
I know, but I just thought we could sing
we
it
could
together. You hadn't sung it together.
Yeah, but she doesn't do it the same way.
Yeah,
never mind. Yes, because Louise is the voice of our topic of the week, the correct jingle. Anyway, but yes, well, I'll talk about the topic of the week, which is about confidence. And unfortunately, I think for a lot of people, obviously confidence. Our second podcast was actually about mental health.
Yeah.
But a lot of people's confidence and their mental health has suffered, obviously, over this lockdown period. And as we have started to return to different groups, whether it be ATC or different groups, or from talking to other groups as well, from across the country actually, there's been a lot of people who usually would be quite confident, who have been part of groups for quite a while, who suddenly find themselves less able to perform. How did you feel about coming back to rehearsal in a group?
Couldn't wait. I genuinely couldn't wait. I think, like I said, I quite often the other way around from other people. I needed to be in the group. That's what gives me my confidence, is the other people around me, because everyone's on the same page, as it were. I'm not so great when it's just me. So in lockdown, when it was kind of just me in front of my computer or whatever it was, that was when I didn't have the confidence. So I was really eager to come back.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because everybody, that's the interesting part of this topic, is that everybody's confidence does that at different times.
Absolutely.
So weirdly for me, when we were in lockdown and we did the Jamie, everybody's talking about Jamie read through, and I really wanted to do a serious part with serious singing in it, that's when my confidence went. And I actually booked some singing lessons in order to be able to just be in front of you lot and sing the songs from Jamie, because normally my style is comedy. And give me a comedy song to sing or a dance or a stupid face to pull. I don't have problem with that at all. But just being a little bit closer to it being me and my voice singing, that's absolutely threw me over the edge. Georgia, give me some singing lessons. I've got to sing in front of people. So isn't it? It's just that's the thing about confidence, is it's so unique to the individual as to what sets them off and makes them feel less secure.
It's brilliant. I'll get some extra singing lessons, because I've done a similar thing. I sang at my best friend's wedding, and I'll sing musical theatre songs, no problem, but she wanted me to sing something a bit more classical, so I sang Latin, I sang Panis Angelicus. And I was like, oh, I've done this since I was at school. And so I went to my singing teacher and I was like, I can't remember any of my Latin, it's gone, I can't remember how to pronounce any of these words.
You should come to me, because I've got a GCSE in Latin. I got an A. GCSE.
Because Gill was at school.
In pictura est puella romana nomine Flavia.
Because Gill was at school in 243 BC.
Right.
Yeah.
That does make more sense.
So obviously confident. I think you're right in terms of confidence. It is a bit of a journey, isn't it? We all change up. But I think what's interesting about what you just said, Gill, about getting that help and getting those singing lessons, same for you, is I think that's a good tip, isn't it? Is that actually, rather than just allowing yourself to go, oh, I don't think I can do that anymore, or I can't do that, is to go, okay, but what could I perhaps see? What could I use to structure and scaffold?
My confidence.
So I can get to that position. So perhaps it is maybe actually having a one-on-one singing lesson. Maybe it's, if it's a performance, asking the director or MD, can I come in 10 minutes early and just run it through with you first, before I have to do it in front of everyone. I think it's trying to find those things first.
For some day workshops or something this summer, I know quite a few people are looking to run, so rather than throw yourself straight back into a full show, just go along and get your confidence back on a one-dayer or something.
And I think what's interesting is a lot of the people who I've spoken to who have perhaps decided, oh, I'm not sure if my confidence is there anymore, a lot of them have said, I probably will rejoin for the next one. I feel like they almost want to see it happen, because I feel like a lot of people will see it and go, oh, I wish I was in that. I could have been in that. And I think people will be a bit gutted, actually. So I think that it's not that they've completely given it up. I think it has been, it's been what, 16 months. By the time most groups perform, it would have been 2 years at least. That's a really long time, and I think especially young people who are perhaps discovering what they enjoy, going through all that stuff at school, their interests will change and their confidence will change too. But I think what's really important to remember is most of these groups, I know our group, I know the groups we were all involved with, are just the most supportive environments.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something we all have to get our heads around sometimes, including me at times in rehearsals, is that actually everyone wants you to just go for it and have fun and be yourself. And if something goes wrong, we can all laugh at it together if we want, and we're all supportive. And that's important to remember.
It's nice, we've got some new people with us this time. And last week it was very much because it was the first time we were all together, you could kind of, I was like, oh, that's a new face. Whereas this week, I think it all looked like everyone was just, they all just looked like they just totally just slotted in.
Oh, some of them you'd think they've been here since the start, but actually they've been here 2
We did
weeks.
the same thing at Bodycut last week. We had a new member join, and within the space of half an hour, we were like, fantastic face, just that. It was bringing them together, and I do think that's an important thing if people are fearing going back to groups they were in before, is we promise you that within half an hour it feels like you've not been away. So the 16 months have just kind of disappeared for people, I think, over the last couple of weeks, just being back.
It's that first step, I think, isn't it? Because I think you're right. I think the amount of times I've come to see, like before I joined you guys, I'd come to see your shows, I would always leave going, what am I doing? I'm not doing that anymore. And that was kind of the push for me once I had time in my life and I could be with you guys. I've not looked back, and I think it's how to get that first step through the door, isn't it, back again with everyone.
Yeah. What about then just taking out lockdown out of the equation and COVID? What tips do you have for people that just having confidence, perhaps trying something different? For example, some people will say, "Oh, I'm a performer, I'm not a singer," and then are required to sing. Do you have any tips as a ex-music teacher, as the MD for ATC? What tips do you have for people that perhaps want the courage to be able to sing?
I think you've got to trust in yourself, because everyone can sing. It's what I love about singing, is it's the one musical instrument that absolutely everybody has access to. But I do understand singing can be, it's also very personal. So I think for a lot, what I would say is really look into the song that you're singing. Firstly, if you find a song that you really love, everyone will listen to a song and go, oh, I love that. And just give it a go and just sing as much or as little as you can of it. But really think about the song. I find it really works for me. I have to kind of distance myself. So it's not Louise singing, it's whoever the character is. And I find that really helps me. But it's just going for it. Joining choirs is fantastic. There's so many really accessible choirs going, things like, I'm trying to think of some, I don't think there's one near me that's rock choir or whatever it is. But just get involved. A friend of mine that I did my degree with, she had to repeat her second year and she changed her instrument from trumpet to singing. Fantastic singer. But very, very shy, did lack confidence. And what we did is I used to drag her along to karaoke. Because it's such a relaxed atmosphere and everyone's just going up there and they're just having a go. And you have a drink. Exactly. You can be drinking, it's less. Although, if you're going to take singing seriously, alcohol's really bad for your vocal cords, as is fizzy drinks. I'm just going to put that out there as well. She says with a bottle of Pepsi. You'll notice unopened. I did all my singing first. Well done. Setting the example. But it's finding those songs, and it's finding something. It's making it fun. Like when I used to have to try and teach an entire class of year 7, or actually the worst year group would have been year 8. They're so self-conscious. You want them all to sing. Yeah. But some of them, they don't want to look silly in front of their friends. So I used to make myself look silly. It's like, oh, act the fool, it's fine.
Well, me and Ben never do that.
Never.
No.
Never make us
very serious people.
Very serious. I find it very easy to make myself look silly because I tend to do very silly things anyway. And it's to be relaxed and just to have fun with it. Singing teachers is a fantastic way to go. Yeah. I didn't get a singing teacher until very late on because I just sang and the noise that came out was nice. So, and I enjoyed it. So it was fine. But if you really want to sing and you're worried about it, then singing teachers is a fantastic way to go. But there's loads of apps you can get, there's YouTube videos. Look for the support, isn't it? Yeah, it is the support, definitely.
At Bodycut, because kids come back and although we've done singing on Zoom, we've often had to do it muted so that it doesn't screw with the sound. And so just getting them to say, right, this is the bar, doesn't matter how bad it is now, but next time you sing it, you've got to get it slightly better. Yeah. So constantly be saying, let's set yourself a target for just making it slightly better. The other thing we're doing is getting them up and moving with it. Yes. Because it stops them thinking about singing and suddenly they relax and suddenly the voice comes out.
Singing sitting down.
And then as soon as they're jumping up and down at the same time, they can sing it. So it's
And
really
singing
weird.
sitting down is just never fun. I hate it.
Should we stand up and sing?
No.
For the,
But let's round up with
Sing
what?
Just,
Don't do that. Never just spring songs on people.
No,
That's
that
never
will really.
fun.
We are representing a theatre company here, and it could go very wrong.
Yeah, but have you heard my jingle every week?
Yes, that's why I don't want us to sing. But just to very quickly round up then, a very quick.
Do a little Ben's roundup.
What would be like a? Sounds like a TV show. What would be like a top tip then for building confidence or remembering that confidence that you had? So I'll go mine first, because it'll give you a chance to think, because I realise I sprung that on you. So mine would be essentially what I said before, which is just remembering that we really are all in the same boat here, in terms of we all want the best, we all want to support each other, and actually if we're all going for it, and we're all enjoying it, and we're all making fools out of ourselves, then nobody is singled out. Actually, if you're the one holding back, in a way you are singled out a little bit. So just enjoy it and enjoy this, such a supportive environment that's there.
I'm going to follow on from that quite nicely actually and look for the support. So find support that works for you. That might be one-to-one singing lessons, that might be a particular YouTube video, it might be an app, but find the support that works for you, and then that will then fill into actually going to the groups and knowing everyone's behind you.
Absolutely.
And my one is there's a very fine line between stretch and so your comfort zone, your stretch zone, and your panic zone. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about that as mine. And I think because people have had a break from this, they're imagining that stuff will put them into a place of uncomfort, so panic. But actually, remember, you've done it before. If you're someone who's trying to return to it, or if it's new to you, we promise you, it's exciting to be in that stretch zone. Yeah, there is a sense of, oh my goodness, we're going back on stage, but actually that's a really good place, and we want to keep that in people. And what we just help, the difference for me between panic and stretch is taking a very deep breath, sort of centering yourself and having a good old go at it, as opposed to just letting your head be in control. So deep breath in, and let's have a go.
Absolutely. Give it a go.
Should we do that now? Should we do a deep breath in and say goodbye? Deep breath in. Goodbye. See you next week. Oh, we went really relaxed.
I know. I feel like we still need to dance out.
Okay, let's
breathe in, breathe out, and then dance. Ready?
Okay, here we
Ready? So thank you. Join us next week. And breathe in.